time it ain't tell on nobody, you feel me? You know what I'm saying, bro? You know what time it is, bro. Just clout chase.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Y'all know my slogan. I don't know it all, but I know what I've been through. Now, before we get into this video, please make sure you head on down to Instagram and follow us on our official Instagram page at hookah_anonymous_. Alright? We're able to be a little more explicit, a little more uncensored, and share content freely without running the risk of having our channel terminated. So, once again, make sure you head on down to Instagram and follow us on our official Instagram page at hookah_anonymous_. Alright, now let's get into what you guys came here to see. Now, I told y'all I would be back with an update on the situation concerning SleazyWorld Go and 81 Hundo, where allegedly they testified and told in an armed robbery and murder case. Now, in the first video we've covered, we didn't have much information considering that we wasn't sure who was who, you know, due to not knowing SleazyWorld Go's real name or 81 Hundo's real name. However, shout out to the supporters out there because y'all know nothing get past y'all. We've got more information on who's who and what actually happened. So, we're going to get into the paperwork, match names with faces so y'all can have a clear understanding of who's who and accused of being, you know, the snitch and telling on what, and etc. Now, here's where some people were confused. For starters, SleazyWorld Go's real name is Joseph Isaac. Alright? 81 Hundo's real name is Quinn Isaac, and we're being told that 81 Hundo is the big brother of SleazyWorld Go. So apparently they're related. You know, they're brothers. I didn't know that at all, you know, but it is what it is. Now, when it comes to the armed robbery and the murder, those are two separate cases that allegedly both individuals testified in separately. With 81 Hundo testifying in the murder case and the armed robbery case having to be based on SleazyWorld Go. Now, let's start with the robbery paperwork so I don't lose y'all. I'm gonna kind of break it up so we can focus on one and then focus on the other. Now, this is the part that involves SleazyWorld Go, aka Joseph Isaac. I've learned that the paperwork we've seen was being spoken from the detective's point of view and not SleazyWorld, but that's because Sleazy allegedly wrote a statement on what happened but didn't make it to the courtroom to be the one that verbally said X, Y, and Z. So when you see in the paperwork, it seemed like they're speaking in third person. Well, that's why, because they are. So that means that the detective was reading what he was told by Sleazy, aka Joseph Isaac. Now, for the people wondering how Sleazy's name was caught up in a robbery, as we know, although Sleazy reps Kansas, he's originally from Grand Rapids, Michigan. But the story is this. After getting into a lot of trouble, he was relocated to Kansas, and there's interviews where Sleazy himself has explained that he moved from Grand Rapids because of certain situations, but he never elaborated. Now, that's where this robbery comes in. According to sources, Sleazy was involved in the armed robbery case along with a few other suspects, and after relocating to Kansas, he was questioned on that incident and he told what he knew. Now, after he was extradited back to Grand Rapids, he tried to run his preliminary hearing, and that's why they called the detective he gave his statements to come to the stand and say what was said to him under oath. Alright, keywords, under oath. So if you're familiar with the courtroom and how that works, under oath means you swore on the Bible to tell the truth, nothing but the truth, and you know, y'all take it from there. So anything that you say can and will be used against you, and if you lie, they could arrest you on that in itself. I think it's called contempt. I forgot. I forgot. I know Lil' Kim went to jail for that as well, for lying under oath, pretty much. Now, in the court documents, there's a question where the detective is asked, quote, "What does Mr. Isaac tell you about what is occurring when the robbery is going down?" And the detective answers, quote, "He, being SleazyWorld, says that he was waiting in the vehicle for the other suspects to come back. He says that he hears a shot and assumes that things are going poorly. At that point, he jumps into the front seat of the vehicle and drives it to a location where he feels that they may be coming out to the alley and waits there for him. Then the detective asks, quote, "Does he describe to you when they come back to the car, or if they come back to the car, what happened?" The detective said, quote, He says he could see them, the victim and the Aaron and Josh, come out into the alley, and the victim, being Mr. White, escorted towards a car. The detective is then asked if Sleazy describes what happened when they get back to the alley, and the detective says that Sleazy says, quote, "The three of them walk to the car. The victim, for whatever reason, decides he doesn't want to get in the car, spins away, and then he hears a couple of shots. He doesn't know exactly what's going on, but he hears a couple of shots, sees people fleeing, and everybody jumps in and they drive away." Now, that name Josh, he was a co-defendant and goes by the name of White Boy Josh. But remember that name because we're going to get back to it later on in the video, and it's pretty prevalent. But let's move on to 81 Hundo and the paperwork on him involving a murder. Right now, Quinn Isaac, aka 81 Hundo, has been accused of snitching on a murder that occurred in Grand Rapids as well. Now, according to sources, 81 Hundo told on a murder in Grand Rapids, then relocated to Atlanta, Georgia, where he also got into another situation in which he allegedly told on as well. Now, the story goes that Quinn Isaac was being questioned for an unrelated crime, and he mentioned that he had information about a homicide. Although he said he wasn't present, he said, quote, he knew it involved a .45 caliber and there were 2 pounds of marijuana involved as well. Now, the documents state that Hundo was reluctant to say any more at first, but he eventually provided more information, with the detective saying, quote, Quinn Isaac told me he was contacted one night by a guy he knew as Kenwin. He said Kenwin was the brother of his baby's mother, Shaniqua. Now, Quinn, aka 81 Hundo, said Kenwin asked to use his firearm that night and would give him $100 and an ounce of marijuana in exchange. Quinn mentions at one point that he only agreed because he needed the money, right? And that's where the paperwork ends. Now, these are the allegations pinned against Sleazy and Hundo, and I hope we cleared it up a little bit because a lot of people didn't know who was who, right? But after these reports came out about these guys snitching, SleazyWorld quickly denied rumors, saying the paperwork is fake and it's not him in the transcripts. Now, although it's not him in the transcripts, it's the detective that he allegedly told everything to instead, to pretty much repeat everything he said verbatim. Now, there's also a letter written to the judge from SleazyWorld floating around that corresponds with the paperwork of him saying that he sat in the alley and waited for him. Now, as much as this may be new to the outsiders looking in, such as myself, I was told that everyone, especially the locals, already know about Sleazy telling. And as far as his co-defendant, White Boy Josh, he's locked up for the crime and received 20 years. Now, there's a video of Sleazy having him on the phone, and he's denying that Sleazy told. However, sources say that Josh knows Sleazy told on him, but he keeps his commissary good, they guess, so he doesn't admit that he told on him. Or maybe he could just be in denial, who knows. But my only question is this: if they were co-defendants on the same exact case, why didn't Sleazy get anywhere near 20 years as well? How was it that he was able to be free while this man is still incarcerated? Alright, what happened with that? Now, also speaking of White Boy Josh as well, apparently he has a baby mother who knows the truth, and she made a post on Instagram because she wants nothing to do with Josh for knowing that Sleazy told and still not saying nothing. She took to her Instagram story and she said, quote, yeah, Josh definitely weird as F crying emojis. I swear to God, I never slept with that man. He's not my baby daddy. I have nothing to do with him. Then she proceeds to say, quote, all these vagina A words, N words getting exposed, right? Now, one may ask, why would she post something like that, right? But it's rumored that she knows what's going on and disagreed with him taking 20 years after being told on the same person he's still in contact with, especially with them having a child together. Now, a couple of people from Kansas jumped in our DMs after we released the first video and spoke out about these two, and they were upset because they're saying that they give the city a bad name and they're not even from there. Then you have an individual from Grand Rapids that contacted us personally and explains that nobody is hating on these guys, but it's real talent out there, and don't nobody want to feel cheated by a quote-unquote rat being able to rap gangster lyrics knowing that they told. Alright? Pretty much indicating that it's real talent to be heard instead of all the gangster this and that with these guys knowing that they ratted. It makes no sense. Now, I'm gonna leave this here, y'all. I hope this video brought some type of clarity to the situation. Also, I'm gonna leave a link to another individual further breaking everything down, including the paperwork. And speaking of the paperwork that's out there, the circuit court number along with the district court number is on the paperwork. If y'all want to do your own research and due diligence, you're free to do that as well. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Y'all jump in the comments, let me know how you feel. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell so you're notified every time we drop new content. And remember, as long as you keep on watching, I'm gonna keep on dropping. And I'm out.